somewhere far beyond the warm light of our sun, in a place so remote that even light takes over 16 hours to reach. An aging spacecraft is quietly sending back information that challenges everything we thought we knew about the laws of physics. Voyager 2, a machine older than the majority of people alive today, has just transmitted data so strange, so profoundly unsettling, that it's forced leading scientists to rethink the very structure of space. And hidden within that data is a signal, not a random fluctuation, but a pattern or rhythm. And behind that rhythm, something appears to be observing. What Voyager 2 has come into contact with might not simply be a spatial anomaly. It could be a message, a presence, or something more disturbing, a mechanism built by an intelligence far beyond our own. But what if this wasn't accidental? What if Voyager 2 was always destined to discover it? Get ready, because what follows might append everything you believe about humanity's place in the cosmos. Voyager. It's launched from Earth in 1977, with a clear and modest goal to explore the outer planets of our solar system. It was a relic of the Cold War era, outfitted with analog technology, golden records, and a nuclear power supply to ensure longevity. For decades, it traveled outward, flying past Neptune, and exiting the sun's heliosphere, and finally entering true interstellar space. Yet only recently did something happen, something its designers never imagined. Just past the boundary known as the heliopause, the edge, where the sun's influence fades, Voyager 2 moved into a strange, unfamiliar zone. There, its instruments picked up magnetic fields that shouldn't have been there. Plasma readings were illogical, and then an unusual signal, consistent, repeating pulse buried within the low-frequency background. It wasn't random. It wasn't cosmic static. It was precise, timed, predictable, almost like it was created by something intelligent. The rhythm echoed like a mechanical heartbeat, pulsing through a region of space we had assumed was empty. As this data streamed in, the Deep Space Communication Network flagged something never before seen. Intensely structured magnetic field, one that didn't spread out as expected, but rather bent and pulsed, forming clear boundaries and gradients. Initially, scientists suspected the spacecraft systems might have failed after 45 years. But thorough diagnostics confirmed it was all functioning. The readings were real. Then came the true shock. The magnetic field wasn't stable. It was changing form as though it were responding to Voyager 2 itself, even more unnerving. High-energy particles normally scattered at random through space began to concentrate around the probe, forming what looked like a focused corridor of energy. Something somewhere was either guiding these particles or manipulating them. But for what purpose? Then the signal grew stronger. Plasma, the hot, charged matter that fills most of the universe, usually acts like a chaotic storm, unpredictable, turbulent, wild. But Voyager 2 encountered something else entirely. The plasma was cooler, denser, and strangely uniform, it seemed. Controlled, contained, and within this field, radio waves began to bounce and echo. The signals Voyager sent back became distorted, forming harmonic patterns. Analysis showed that these distortions didn't match any known natural process. Some of the signal shifts even resembled early attempts by Earth scientists at data compression. It was as if Voyager 2 had entered, some kind of signal filterer, perhaps a receiver. Could there be an object or structure out there, cloaked in plasma, waiting silently for transmissions like Voyager's? So, it had been listening for 46 years, and now it had replied. Then came the anomaly that redefined everything. Voyager 2 recorded a deep, repeating pulse within the electromagnetic spectrum. It wasn't loud, but it was mathematically exact, repeating at intervals unlike anything from a known celestial object. No star, no pulsar, no radiation source fit the profile. Even stranger, the moment Voyager crossed into the plasma field, the signal slightly increased in power, as if its crossing had activated something. Some dismissed it as coincidence. Others hesitated. One astrophysicist, a Nobel Prize recipient, publicly stated this might be the first true evidence of something artificial, or at least non-random, maybe a remnant of an ancient transmitter, a dormant structure now awakened by Voyager's passing. Or perhaps this was the beginning of contact not from human hands, but from a machine reaching out on our behalf. Voyager 2 continued transmitting. And then its sensors detected something even more difficult to explain. A ripple in gravity. A localized bend in space-time. It's not strong enough to suggest a black hole, but unmistakably present. And yet there was no visible mass, no planet, no rock, nothing to cause it. Just a distortion that bent light, plasma, and magnetism, as if something invisible were lurking there. Presence, a gravitational echo without a physical source. That discovery pushed some physicists to propose radical ideas. Perhaps what Voyager 2 had encountered existed in dimensions not quite aligned with our own. Maybe it wasn't even fully part of space as we understand it, but was intersecting with it. It's like a higher dimensional structure brushing against a two-dimensional world. In short, Voyager may not have found an alien ship, may have stumbled across an intersection point. A breach, a convergence. And just like that, the discussion shifted from astronomy to something more philosophical. Then, deep within Voyager 2's memory, engineers uncovered something even more disturbing. Data logs began appearing that had never been recorded. From years ago, files encoded in unfamiliar formats. Telemetry showing constellations the spacecraft had never encountered. Star charts that didn't match any current map. Could the spacecraft have been altered? Was its programming modified remotely? Or more unsettling, had Voyager become a receiver for information it couldn't fully interpret? Was it now storing fragments of a memory not its own? Some researchers suggested that what we were witnessing wasn't a malfunction, but an imprint. Voyager's systems had been exposed to a form of non-human logic, and in trying to process it, the craft had begun generating a hybrid data structure like a translation between two completely different kinds of minds, one made of biology, the other unknown. Around this time, an independent observatory in South Africa tracking Voyager's location in the microwave band reported a sharp, sudden flash in the direction Voyager was heading. It lasted less than half a second, seconds or 0.4 seconds, to be exact, and then vanished. Visible light telescopes saw nothing. Infrared nothing, but the microwave sensors recorded what looked like a blink, like an eye opening and closing. Even stranger, the signal contained an echo of Voyager's own transmission, altered, reversed, a mirror. But the energy level of that blink was far too fast, too sharply focused to come from anything natural. It was deliberate. And then, just as quickly, it was gone. Not a conversation, just one response. As if something had said, "We see you." What followed rocked the scientific world. Some researchers insisted it was all a mistake. Aging instruments, misread data, unrelated cosmic events lining up by chance. But others stayed quiet, not because they disagreed, but because they were worried not about what Voyager had discovered, but about what had discovered Voyager. A few theorists began to develop new models, ideas about probes that don't move like our machines, probes that exist in specific spots in space-time, not flying around, but anchored. These wouldn't be spaceships or satellites, but conscious patterns, thought forms embedded in plasma, magnetic fields, or even quantum fluctuations. And Voyager 2, they said, may have just awakened one. One physicist summarized it plainly. We didn't discover something. Something discovered us. For over 40 years, Voyager 2 has been drifting farther than any other object humanity has ever launched. It was never meant to last this long. It was never meant to feel as though it was being watched. And it certainly wasn't expected to receive a response from something unknown. But now, here we are, a pulse, a signal, a distortion, a blink. And at the heart of it, all no creature, no spacecraft, no conventional signal, just an intelligence, built into the very framework of deep space. Not designed, not launched. Simply there, waiting. Whatever Voyager 2 encountered, it might not be technology in any form we understand. It might be something far older, far more complex, something not local to our dimension, something that doesn't speak in words, but in geometry, gravity, magnetism, and the very structure of reality itself. And now that we've touched it, it's touched us in return. So what does this mean for us? For science? For what it means to exist? Maybe we were never supposed to come this far. Or maybe we've just rung a bell that cannot be unrung. Or perhaps this was always the purpose of the journey. Because if Voyager 2 has indeed made contact with something truly advanced, it hasn't just expanded the boundary of human exploration, it's crossed the line. We are no longer just observers. We are now part of the story.